Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Basics Podcast, the podcast for everyone. You know, Dylan, this is a
Yeah,
podcast for everyone. It's not, we're not being exclusive here. This isn't, this isn't for people who can, deadlift a certain amount of weight or, can pride themselves on the amount of burpees that they can do in a minute. This is for the people that are more interested in tracking the amount of slices of pizza that they're having, with dinner, versus the amount of burpees that they're doing in their CrossFit session. So, we're happy to be here providing you with the realest fitness information. And but I guess before we kick off the show with the hot topic, Dylan, is there any just like catch up stuff that we got to do here?
yeah, actually. Um, I was working out today, and I was doing some chest supersets, and I recall a conversation we had on this podcast earlier this year, where you set out to bench press 315 pounds, and I
Yeah.
think you owe us an update on that.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. I was just thinking about that, and so yeah, I've been a little lax on my overall training, but I have been keeping the bench press goal in mind. So I am up to 300 pounds max. Um, yes, but it's been a slow gainer. So I just went back to the lab and I have kind of revamped my programming for the last 3 months here to get this done before New Year's. But it's going to be tight, but I think I can get it done. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're 315 pounds to go. The finish line is in sight.
you got 4 months.
Four
You
months.
might you you,
Oh yeah,
you you might you
four
might
months.
hit it on like Christmas. You could do it on Christmas.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So no, I'm optimistic. It is. Yeah, getting your press up is a bitch, man. It's
yeah.
like it's really, really challenging to get your pressing weights up, and that is I think why it's probably best for most people to not worry so much about how much you bench. But every once in a while you got to put a goal out there and just let the people know. So I appreciate you checking in on that. I'm excited to hang out with you this weekend for the first annual basic trainer golf outing.
Yeah, man, we bring in swag. Are we sponsoring the event?
Yeah, we should, yeah, we might have to. For anybody that doesn't know, Dylan and I we've been best friends since high school. But Dylan, the golf tournament that we're going to is not actually the Basic Trainer Open. It's something that, well, I'll let you tell it because it's something that it's your family's deal.
It's actually Dave Weber's family's deal.
Got it.
I'm the planner of the event now because if we left it in Dave's hands, we'd all be in trouble. But it's called waffling. Waffling. It stands for Weber, and you actually have to know this as a waffler. So I'm glad I'm telling you this
All right.
now in this public space. Stands for Weber and Friends. Fun, loving, invitational next golf outing.
Invitational next golf outing.
Yeah. Uh,
But I mean,
so
this is something that you guys have been doing for a long time.
this is my 16th annual waffling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Weber, it started with Mr. Weber's dad. I mean, we had waffling 25, maybe 10 years ago. So we're probably looking at like 35 years of the waffler. And it's just a blast. We play a lot of golf, all different skill levels, all play to handicap. And the winner of the event, and I'm doing winner in air quotes because if we really awarded the winner would be me because I'm going to shoot the lowest score for 2 days. But the winner is the person that scores the lowest underneath their handicap. In other words, they're really sandbagging. And so while they win the money, there's also a minor punishment that comes with that, which is that they have to chug an entire trophy full of beer. And the rules of that are that they can take as long as they need, but they cannot remove their lips from the trophy until every last drop of beer is gone.
Yeah,
And
and
it's very fun to watch
yeah, and
and not
our
very fun to
friend,
do.
our good friend Andrew Geyer, won it last year. And if you know him, he's not known for his chugging. I wasn't there. This is my first waffling, as you probably know if you listen to the show. I really couldn't care less about golf, but I like hanging out with my buddies. So I'm excited for this one. But Geyer, not a great chugger, and the videos last year, it was pretty brutal.
It was pathetic. Yeah, I mean, you have a huge number and you're an athletic, competitive guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you could shock the world, man.
I could shock the world.
It
I don't
wouldn't
think
surprise
that's.
me in the least.
Yeah, I.
And you
Uh,
take that trophy down like a champ. That would
yeah,
be
the
fun to watch.
chugging, the chugging would be is going to be the easiest part for me. So, anyways, can't wait for it. It's going to be a
Me too.
blast.
You bet.
Um, but yeah, I will say I heard about the event, I thought, oh, we start on Friday. Maybe I'll work the morning, and the course is only a couple hours away, so maybe I'll work some of my morning sessions and then meet you guys. And then I got your email, and it said that we're meeting at 8 a.m. So
You're
this
gonna
is
you're gonna play more golf on Friday than you've played in the last 5 years.
easily. Oh yeah, exactly, for
Yeah,
sure.
you're gonna play 36 holes of golf.
That's insane. All right, let's transition to our hot topic of the day. Uh, this one, because it is the least sciencey thing that we have ever talked about on this show, I'm going to introduce it. It is a New York Post article titled "Star Sweat: Can Astrology Help You Get the Body You Were Born For?" Um, yeah. What do you think, Dylan?
Is astrology not scientific?
No, no. I think that's the whole point. Is that it's not about science. It's about feelings and how they
Feelings.
relate to the stars.
Yeah, Alexi Gigi is the astrologer that has come up with this theory around aligning our workout modality with our, what do you call them? Like our sign, our
Yeah, your
horoscopes,
astrological sign.
your astrological sign. Yeah. The beginning of the article, I don't know who wrote it, but it's funny. It's funny as hell. Retta Wiggle wrote the article, and she says here to start, named for the god of war, Mars is our planet of will, energy, sexuality, and action. Getting it done and getting it on, if you will. The planetary ruler of hot-headed Aries and intense AF Scorpio, Mars also rules blood and our sense of vitality, creating a clear connection between our Mars sign and the best way to work out to get that sacred blood pumping. So it goes on to talk about how this astrologer Gigi has essentially recommending different types of workouts based on your astrological sign. Did you look at where you land?
Well, I just assumed that I'm a Taurus normally, but is your Mars sign different than normal? I'm going to put it like into the generator right now. Did you do this?
Oh no, I just assumed I was a Scorpio as well. Are you suggesting the Mars sign is different from the
I
astrological sign?
don't know, man. I don't know. It says it needs like your time of birth and stuff. Let's see. Calculate my chart.
Oh man,
Oh goodness. Oh no, Dylan. This is a rabbit hole here.
it
All right.
it needs your year of birth too.
I'm abort. Yeah, I'm aborting. Okay. I am. We're just gonna say for the sake of this conversation, I'm a Taurus, and you're a Scorpio. Okay. So for for a Scorpio. Yours was fun. So Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and this sign is marked by intensity, on an intense need for a challenge. Gigi says that you, Dylan, really want to do something where you can pour your whole heart and your whole soul into it. I want you, this is a quote, you to think about getting your revenge body, putting all of your emotions into your workout, something very intense, something very deep, something very transformative, like Scorpio itself. She recommends martial arts like jujitsu, Muay Thai, and Taekwondo, as well as boxing practice, where they can think of their ex while beating the shit out of a punching bag.
Oh man,
Okay, got
I'm
it.
not that
Oh, it
angry.
says
I'm
something
not
about
that
pole
angry at
dancing
the
here
gym.
too. It says because Scorpio rules the eighth house of sexuality, she says erotic tinged workouts like pole dancing and striptease aerobics are especially well suited for this Mars sign. So there you go, buddy. Now you can finally admit that you've been taking pole dancing classes.
What the fuck? That the beginning of that got me kind of fired up, but
Yeah.
uh, I'm too peaceful of a fella, at least physically, to be. I'm not a wrestler. You've done some jujitsu.
Yeah, yeah, that seems
Um,
a little bit more my style.
yeah, I'd probably pole dance before I'd fight jujitsu, to be honest with you.
Yeah, all right. And then I'm a Taurus, and mine is so much more boring. It says that Gigi recommends fresh air and endurance training for those whose Mars falls in the bucolic Earth sign of Taurus. She explains, quote, Taurus is a sign that loves grounding and connecting to nature. You really want to be doing exercises that emphasize endurance, strength, and connection to the earth. Some recommendations include hiking and Pilates in the park, where strength can be built and bulls can feel free to frolic.
You're a
Um,
bull, man.
yeah, I
You're an
am a bull
outdoorsy fella.
who I enjoy frolicking,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, this is fucking wild. It's silly as hell, but hey, if you haven't worked out in a while and you're looking for some inspiration,
right,
check this article out. Maybe
that's
maybe
it.
Gigi will give you some words of encouragement to get you going on a new venture.
And if you are a listener who also knows what a Mars sign is, and if that is any different from what I think our astrological signs are, reach out, and we would love to actually have you on the show, and you can give Dylan and I both like a reading, or if that's something that isn't offensive in the astrological community.
Oh shit.
Oh man!
Too
All right,
funny.
let's move on. Um, Dylan, you're the segment master. You came up with another really killer segment idea, and so I'm gonna let you introduce it here.
Yeah, this is another one I want to revisit frequently, and I think conceptually as an idea, as just sort of an overarching idea, the concept of the segment I think is something that could, and I don't mean to be hyperbolic here, could change the world. I genuinely think if people used the word and more frequently instead of or, the world would be a much better place. So the segment is called The Power of and it's going to obviously apply to health and fitness for the purposes of this podcast, but I think in health and fitness, in all sorts of things in this world, that there's an election coming up, politics, etc., etc. Everything's become so binary. It's this or that. And as a result of that, people now live in these camps and die on these hills that are just silly. It just doesn't make any sense. And if we can look at more duality and look into the nuances of things more and consider that more than one thing can be true at the same time, that the world will be a better place and that our health and fitness will be better. So if we can sort of tune out what we see frequently in social media where somebody's telling you you must do this and don't do that, you'll find yourself having a more healthy relationship with health and fitness in general. And by using the word and more, just in regular life, I think you'll find yourself just being a generally happier individual as well.
Yeah, I love it. So the first thing that came to my mind was the Kings of leg exercises, squats or deadlifts. So this conversation is going to be about squats and deadlifts. And so, I feel like there's always in with something like this, it's always one camp or the other as to which one is the king of the lower body. And you tend to have people that prefer one or the other, and you have people that are going to avoid the other one. And so, as far as you have your squat camp, and a lot of people prefer it, because it's going to be a little bit more balanced between the quads and the glutes. You get some, adductors working in there, and it's a really awesome lower body builder. It's also huge for core stability. And then you have your deadlift camp, because of what it can do to build the posterior chain, obviously glutes, hamstrings, low back, and you know they both are foundational movements, and any program should include them. And so, I think that the best thing that you can do with these two, instead of looking at them as competing exercises, which one is going to get you better legs? I think this is a perfect example of something you got to do both.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean they you just noted how they're really targeting different muscles. There's some crossover. It's a bit of a Venn diagram for sure, but a squat is not going to hit your posterior chain like a deadlift will. And the deadlift isn't going to hit the quad quite as effectively as a squat will. So both are critically important to building that lower body effectively. There's probably the two best movements if you had to just pick two, right? It's not really that simple, but if you were to pick two movements to do for the rest of your life to build your lower body, I would probably choose a squat variation and a hinge deadlift variation. So, yeah, this is absolutely an and I think it even goes a little further where like you'll see people on social media who will be like, "Don't ever do deadlifts because they're dangerous."
Mm-hmm.
Well, deadlifts can be dangerous, and they're an insanely effective exercise if done correctly. So this is the type of shit that I'm talking about, where it's like we don't have to fall into one camp or the other. We can recognize that for a deadlift to be effective, we have to do it safely and correctly, and that if done safely and correctly, it's a super beneficial exercise. So I'm a huge fan of both. Like you noted, a good program, a comprehensive whole body program, is going to program a variation of both of these in there throughout the course of that program. And yeah, squats and deadlifts every week for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And I this is one of those things where when you look at the continuum of lower body exercises, you've got the squat on one end, and then you've got your hinge, your deadlift on the other end, and they meet in the middle. There's exercises all the way up and down the chain where you can have a squat that involves a little bit more hinge in it, like a barbell back squat. You can have a deadlift or a hinge that's a little bit more squat, like a trap bar deadlift. And these things aren't. It's not one or the other. Each move,
Hmm.
even unless you're doing one end of the spectrum, like a true hinge would be like a straight leg RDL. And then
Hmm.
on the opposite end of that continuum, you would have something like a goblet squat or a
Yep.
front squat, something, a very straight up and down squat. But every other variation of those exercises are going to have a little bit of the other one in it. So,
Hmm.
to say that one is better than the other, or to say that one is going to be more effective for this and that, it's just it's not looking at the whole picture, and it's really robbing you of some opportunities to get stronger in the gym.
It's just for attention. That's going to be
Right.
true for a lot of this, right? Like you fall in a camp, you're really binary about it, you get really angry about it, and people will pay attention to you. It's,
Hmm.
it's the way the media works. It's the way that the world unfortunately works. So, yeah, tons of nuance in that one. First one that came to mind for me was cardio or strength training. And this is another one where it absolutely should be cardio and strength training. We've talked on this podcast a number of times about why, in our opinion, emphasizing strength training is going to be better for the majority of the people that we're talking to. And the reason for that is most regular, everyday people who aren't obsessed with health and fitness probably aren't spending as much time doing strength training as they should, and would more likely lace up their running shoes and go for a run on a given day to get back into shape or to do some healthy movement. But the reality of uh, both of these things is that they're both vitally important, and they both positively impact your life in different ways, right? With strength training, it's about muscle growth and strength. It's about your bone health. It's about boosting that metabolic rate, that resting metabolic rate that we've talked about on previous episodes. It's going to play way more into improving your body composition than cardio will. Whereas cardio is very much about the heart, the healthier heart, very much about improving your lung capacity, very much about improving your endurance, and you need all of those things to really be optimally healthy. And it's about finding a balance between the two and, right, having both of them that will provide you with the most benefits. So for me, what does that look like? I certainly will, in the interest of not overfilling my cup and overtraining, give more emphasis to one or the other in a given season. But I absolutely make time to prioritize both throughout the course of a given year because of how important they are. And to the point you made on the squat and hinge, there's a continuum to this too, right? Like there are strength training exercises. You just shared a study with me, I think, where they were looking at the VO2 max associated with high
Barbell
rep
back squat.
squatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, barbell back squatting, and found marked improvements in VO2 max, which typically you would think would fall under that cardio category, but from doing high rep barbell back squats. So there's a continuum to this too, and you don't need to live or die in either camp. You can like one more than the other and therefore do it more. They're both healthy for you, but a little bit of both, the right amount of both, is absolutely what's going to be best.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to be the meathead that is out of breath, by going upstairs, but you don't also want to be the little shrimp that just gets blown over by a strong breeze. And so, there's a benefit to doing both, and not just from a current health standpoint, but from that longevity standpoint. Which if you really think about when you get down to the nuts of it all, like why the real why the majority of us should be training, it's to live a long, healthy life. And
Yep.
if you want to give yourself the best chance to do that, you need a little bit of both, because the strength training is what is going to give you the bone density and the muscle, and then that cardio is what is going to give you the heart health, the lung capacity, and and both of them are going to help keep you at a healthy weight. So these are two things that seem to just get thrown into this divisive left and right category, and you have to love one or the other. But really, like if you're doing a program that is just one, then I mean, I guess even if you're training for a specific thing, that requires a focus on one versus the other, like for example, I've got a client right now who I've been working with for the last few months, and she's about to run 50K on Saturday. And so, we got her strength training for the last couple months, and we're able to sort out some knee issues that she was working on, some stuff, just like some chronic knee injuries that she was working on, as well as some, like shoulder stuff. And so, this is one of those things that, just because it'd be so easy for somebody in that situation to say, well, all I need to do is just, double and triple down on my endurance. But, to when you combine the two, the benefits of the other one just it increases exponentially.
Yeah, and this isn't to say you should give all to both at the same time.
Right.
That's an important point too. There are seasons. We've talked about this many times on the podcast. If you really want to see maximum benefit for strength training, you should probably be giving upwards of 80 to 90% of your time to strength training for a given season, complementing it with a little less cardio to keep those heart health benefits that come with that. And vice versa, right? Like if I would imagine that individual you're working with that's training for the 50K, still probably more emphasis on the cardio for that season as they're training up to that event. But by supplementing it with, 25-30% strength training, you're finding even market improvement in the cardio itself. So these things they can be very complementary, and this is just another big and for me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The next one that I thought of is something that I have, had my own struggles with personally, and this is the gym workout versus, or okay, gym workout and outdoor activity. I've definitely got some friends who they love going on hikes. They love being outside, playing sports outside, and see the gym as kind of this sterile environment that they would rather not spend a whole lot of time in. And I definitely understand where they're coming from. But if all you're doing for your exercise, is that the outside stuff. So you've got your hiking, running, biking, swimming, and you can even do strength training outside if you have a set of adjustable dumbbells. That's not to say that it has to be just these outdoor activities, but there still is something about if you want to make progress physically, being in a gym is going to be the most effective place for you to get that done. And so, if you want to focus on, if you have a specific muscle group that you want to work on, if you're working on a specific skill, having gym equipment, having the machines, having barbells, having, a squat rack and the ability to bench press is going to help you, get to those goals faster. And, really, when I think about my ideal fitness routine, it includes, a couple days, three or so days in the gym, and then it involves getting outside every single day. But if I don't have those days in the gym, it's not going to have the same. It's just not going to have the same effect.
Yeah, and if you're a person who strictly lives in that gym environment, the benefits of getting the fuck outside are insane, right? Like they go far beyond, I think, what we just traditionally think about. Obviously, you're going to be a bit more physical if you're outside. You're going to get that sunshine for vitamin D production, which is really important. We've talked about the importance of getting outside for kind of working on that circadian rhythm, kind of fine tuning that and helping you to get better sleep at night. So, yeah, I mean, if you're a person who's constantly in the gym, and I can get this way from time to time, and it can get tough in the winter in Wisconsin, right? Like, it's just the gym is warm and it's fucking cold outside.
Right.
But make a point to go for a walk every so often. For me, that's a lot of what it is it's a hike or a walk. Play some pickleball, play some rec sports, whatever it is. But it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can
Yeah.
absolutely and should prioritize time where you're in the gym and you're really focused on, specific goals, building muscle, but get outside too. And as you noted, there can be some blend between the two as well. Like I made a point, I have a home gym here. I made a point to take a lot of my stuff outside this summer so that I could do more of my workouts outside. And so I was essentially feeding two birds from one hand. But yeah, another one where these things don't have to be so binary, right? You can absolutely love and prioritize being outside and marry that with a little bit of inside gym activity as well.
Is feeding two birds with one hand, that's just like the
Oh,
positive.
did I say that?
That's the positive
Yeah.
analogy to kill two birds with one stone. I like that better, man. I
Yeah, I
think
had a I had a real hippie environmental uh, studies professor in college who taught me that one, and I
I
love
like
that guy.
that. Why do we got
Shout
to be
out
killing
to
birds, man?
yeah, dude, right? And my wife's a big birder.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so she doesn't like that one so much.
I like that. But I think so. Both of them provide some like different mental benefits, but they are distinctly different in my opinion. You know, when you go to the gym, you know, that's an opportunity to focus on a specific task, to really like zone in on what you're doing. Whereas when you are, you know, outside, whether you're going on that hike or a run or biking, whatever the case may be, that is kind of an opportunity to turn off your brain and really
Hmm.
just zone out, zoom out. And, you know, so there's benefit to doing both, you know, and if you do any sort of research on meditation, there are those are two different sides of meditating where you are focusing on something specific like your breath, or you are just letting your mind completely wander. And they are both beneficial in different ways, but they are especially good when you are doing both of them.
Yeah, you bet. Next one here is food related, and it's the protein or carbs and the meat or vegetables
Hmm.
camps. And this one seems so straightforward. It's protein and carbs. It's meat and veggies. Both are vitally important to your well-being. So anybody that's suggesting cough cough carnivore camp that you should only be eating meat or protein, or cough cough vegan camp suggesting that you can live off of plants alone, is, you know, missing the forest through the trees, right? Like, certainly there are cases by which, I don't mean to bash veganism, there's people that do it for reasons beyond nutrition that have their merits, and that's great and that's good. Would suggest to those people that they're really calculated and careful with how they do that, because protein is so critically important. It's easy to fall short on protein goals when you're a vegan, but protein and carbs are both so critically important. And I think you see more often than not people who are like super anti-carb, right? I was just watching a movie the other day, and there was this real buff guy, and he suggested that he had to go for a run because he had to burn off the carbs, like he ate something bad.
Yeah.
And carbs are the primary energy source of our body. Like, we literally need carbohydrates for any higher intensity activity that we're going to do. So they're just critically important. We've talked time and time again about fiber. You're not going to get any fiber from protein or meat. That comes from your carbohydrates. So you have to have both. And we've talked time and time again about the benefits of protein, everything from muscle growth, muscle repair, satiety, managing your weight, getting that metabolic boost. So the benefits are plentiful, and there really isn't that much crossover here, right? Like, you need both for the different benefits that they provide.
Yeah. Have you seen? This is one of those like modern day internet problems where I've seen and love this specific clip, but I have no idea where it's from.
Yeah.
It's Ryan Gosling, and he's just like yelling, I think, at another Ryan Gosling, and he's just yelling. He's like, you need your body needs carbs. Your brain runs on glucose for simple cognitive functions, and it's just
That's
like
great.
sometimes, you know, we just get caught up in all of these like trendy, trendy studies and fads and all this crap, and forget like the most basic science, like the
Yeah.
most basic science, which is, I mean, if you want to build muscle, you need protein. You know, you cannot your body cannot build and maintain muscle without the amino acids that that come from protein. And if you want your body to function well, it also needs glucose for energy. So where do you get the protein from? You know, you get it from, generally you get it from, but you get amino acids from protein. Where do you get glucose from? Well, you get it from carbs. So you need both these things. They are essential to human life and to have a happy, healthy body. So, you know, if you are listening to somebody that tells you that one of them is bad for you, they are an idiot.
Church.
Yeah. All right. This one is really quite near and dear to my heart. This is something that for a long time, had looked at it as, you know, an or, you know, conversation, which is like goal setting or enjoying the journey. And I think the balance that we ultimately want to strike here is that goal setting and enjoying the journey. There is a time when goal setting is important. If you have something very specific that you want to achieve, I want to bench 3 plates by the end of this year. If I'm just enjoying the ride, odds are I'm not going to get there. I might stumble into it, if I happen to, if I get lucky. But what is really going to get me over the edge and make sure that I get that done in the next 4 months is a plan, setting a goal, reverse engineering how we're going to get there, and then starting to execute on that plan. But if you're one of these people that just lives in the planning, you're constantly tracking, there is no flexibility in any of your workouts. It seems like it's going to be a really hard thing to maintain in the long run. And maybe it's something that some people need. You need a routine and you need structure. But if you don't, it just reminds me of the old Ferris Bueller quote. If you don't, life moves pretty fast. You gotta stop and enjoy it every once in a while. So you have to make sure that while you're setting those goals to get where you want to go, you're not just being so laser focused on it that you miss the journey along the way.
Yeah, I saw a Ryan Holiday clip the other day. He's a stoic fella, and he was talking. He's highly successful, written a number of books, has a pretty strong social media presence. He was talking about how he doesn't set goals at all. And I thought the philosophy behind it was kind of interesting. And I think the underlying theme in his message was he really only has one big goal. And his one big goal is to show up every day and give his best to that day. And that the rest is sort of out of his control to some degree. And therefore, if he puts his attention on, my goal is to sell X number of books or, whatever it is. And so the lesson I took from it was because I do think it's very much about how do we find the balance in this, because you see people who are just enjoying the journey, kind of aimlessly wander through life, end up being 60 years old and don't really know what it was all for, or people who get so strict with their goal setting that they don't ever have a chance to enjoy anything and all of a sudden they retire, or like they're living for retirement. And so how do you find the balance in these things? And I think it's very much about setting more internally focused goals, right? That's the message I took from what he was saying, where the goals aren't so externally derived, right? Like a goal to make $100,000 a year, $500,000 a year. There, you can give yourself to that every day, and not get there for a number of different reasons. And so that's going to take a lot of the enjoyment out of the journey along the way. Whereas something that's much more internally focused, right? Like I'm going to show up at work every day and, aim to do X, Y, and Z. Give, this amount of time to undivided focused work. I'm going to spend this much time networking with whatever it is, things that you have some control over. And for me, I think that's where a lot of this balance is, and opens the door then to not getting so stuck in this goal and still allowing like your peripheral life to exist around you, where there's opportunities for spontaneity, there's opportunities to pivot, because life happens. Life is great if we allow it to be and we allow it to kind of come to us. So, yeah, I mean, this is another big and.
Yeah, for sure. It just is creating that balanced approach, and where you have measurable progress while the experience is remaining fun and enjoyable. So, yeah, I love that so much, and I think it is something that we all struggle with because we want to be productive, we want to get stuff done, but at least this is something that I know personally I've had to really reflect on recently is being productive and busy are two
Right.
different things, and seems a lot of times when you live this very, very rigid, lifestyle, a lot of times we're just trying to fill the day. Like we're trying to feel busy because that feels productive. When sometimes the most productive thing that you can do in your day is just stopping to smell the roses, to enjoy life and just watch it go by a little bit.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna do this again because I have a million of these written down.
Mm-hmm.
Again, life doesn't need to be so singular, right? Like there's so much nuance in everything that we do. There are tons of health and fitness lessons in that, and I think just a general life lesson in giving a bit of consideration to the ands that exist out there. And if you can try to find more of them, I think you'll find yourself being a bit happier. It's been a major shift in focus for me, and I wish all the listeners the best with exploring it as well.
For sure. All right, let's transition to our question and answer portion of the day. This one comes from actually just something that I've been working on recently. So this is about active recovery. It's something that I really think a lot of people struggle with this aspect of training. They have a workout program where they know they're supposed to be, they're in the gym, 2, 3, 4 days a week, whatever it is, and then they have the rest of the week, and those other days can really make or break a training program. And so I wanted to just ask you, what are the ways that you like to, spend your active recovery days? What are the things that you tend to lean towards? And then, we can kind of just talk about like what suggestions we might have for our listeners.
Yeah, I got a couple thoughts. Mobility is a big one. I'm gonna let you talk about that because you're a mobility guru.
Okay.
But there's a couple of thoughts that immediately come to mind for me. One is walking, and I don't mean just like go for a walk. I mean like I will schedule it into my day, go for a walk. So on my non-lifting days, I absolutely make a point to walk a mile or two, where I go on a dedicated walk. I'm not sweating or getting my heart rate up too much, but I'm walking at a briskish pace. I'm not doing too much of it, but really really effective for recovery. The other thing that I love is using resistance bands to do movements similar to the movements I'd done the day before. So if I did a full body workout, I might grab some resistance bands and do some chest flies. I might do some more body weight lunge type stuff, and not with limited intensity, right? Just to sort of keep that muscle building signal alive and to draw blood back to those muscles that I just previously worked to continue to enhance that recovery. So those are the first two things that immediately come to mind for me that I use pretty frequently.
Yeah. And I love that. I mean, so, and I think of active recovery in a couple different ways. So one, it is just a way to stay moving. And so that's where something like walking is huge. Walking, biking, this time of year, I am loving going to the beach and going for a swim. Just these ways to, keep the calories burning, keep your body moving. But something that, especially as I start to get older, and we're still both, young. We're relatively young, but even now in our early to mid 30s, I'm starting to notice, there are some just natural aches and pains that start to pop up, especially, like I had a huge work schedule this weekend. It was super busy up here, and I was on my feet for, the majority of the weekend. And, at the end of those days, I'd start to notice my low back just being a little bit, not really in pain, but just starting to talk to me a little bit, notice a little bit of neck stiffness, those types of things. And, this is where those active recovery days can really have a huge benefit where you are targeting specific areas and just spending a little bit of extra time on them to make sure that they're getting the attention they need. And so, something that I like to do, just this, is should be every day. But just something as simple as like neck circles, for my neck mobility, or really what I love to do is I love to open up my mobility Bible, and that is How to Be a Supple Leopard, the mobility Bible written by the mobility guru Kelly Starlett. And so I love to just pop that book open and find different target areas anywhere that I'm feeling tension, or if you're not going to read a book, or if you're not going to open up his book and read through some of these mobility practices, they do have a really awesome app called the Ready State, where you they have ready to go mobility programs that if I just need a little reset on a specific area, I know I can turn to that, and it can be as quick as 5 minutes or as long as an hour if I want it to. But yeah, I have been finding more often now that my active recovery days, I'm leaning a lot more towards that foam roller, the lacrosse ball, those mobility tools, because I feel like it is such a benefit and such a good complement to the strength training stuff that we do regularly.
Yeah, it's super important. I think there's people that'll debate whether or not active recovery is even really necessary, but there are countless studies. The guy we've referenced before, Menlo Henselman's
Yeah.
fella on Instagram, just recently shared a new study on active recovery. I was just looking up because I saw it the other day, and he highlights in his post that there are countless studies to show how important active recovery is for recovering, for being able to show up to the gym the next day with your best, and to sort of reduce the inflammation effects, the longer term inflammation effects that can come from working out. So, yeah, some really good ways to do that, I think.
Yeah, and I think this is another one of those situations where, just doing something that you enjoy. This is a good
Yeah,
opportunity to just do something that you enjoy.
yeah. Don't sit on your ass. That's
Right.
pretty
Yeah,
much it.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring it on home, Dylan. Uh, we are going to move on to the I Lift a sad song of the week. As you know, it is your sad song, and I can't wait to hear what it's going to be.
I believe this song will be on my Spotify Wrapped, my most listened to song of 2024.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. You may or may not know it. It's a new song, and it's by a band that's gained quite a bit of popularity over the last year. Recently put out I think their first full length album. The band's called Medium Build,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the song is called Beach Chair. It's the first
Great.
song off the new album,
Great song.
and
Great artist. Medium
it's a
Build
great
is,
gym song.
oh, dude. He's the man. We got to see Medium Build.
I want to see Medium Build so bad, and the guitar tone in that song, when it's loud and you're in the gym, it hits, man.
That
It's a gem.
Yeah, that album has a few songs that I
It
really
does.
really like in the gym. The album's called Country. You showed it to me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you sent that to me, but I am big. I'm big on medium build. Yeah, extra
Oh
large for medium build.
yeah. Extra large build.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next time.